Now, the United Nations Security Council has voted to support a US-crafted Israel-Hamas ceasefire plan. The proposal sets out conditions for a temporary truce, hostage prisoner exchanges and eventually the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip. The resolution passed 14-0 with Russia abstaining. Let's bring in Joumanna Bercetche then, our Horizons Middle East and Africa anchor. Joumanna, what do we know about this UN resolution, what the implications are and what the votes suggest international support for this resolution is looking like at this point?
Yeah, Tom, so we know the resolution actually passed at the Security Council 14-0, as you highlighted, with Russia abstaining, all in support of this U.S. ceasefire proposal that was put on the table by Joe Biden on May the 31st. It does tell you that there is growing momentum around the world to endorse this truce proposal, and it indeed tells you that at a worldwide level, many of the countries within the UN would like to see a ceasefire deal pushed and passed across the line. In reality, though, Tom, the UN has taken a backseat since October 7. There have been multiple pushes and calls for ceasefire deals. And actually, it wasn't until about a month ago that the US themselves signed on in support of a ceasefire deal. So it's unlikely to affect how things actually manifest on the ground. But it is significant that there is growing worldwide momentum around this Biden proposal.
Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken on the ground in Israel, once again putting the pressure on the Prime Minister Netanyahu. What has he been telling his Israeli counterparts?
That's right. So the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is on his 8th trip to the region since October 7. He met with the Egyptian President Sisi yesterday. Today he's in Israel. He also met with the Prime Minister Netanyahu towards the evening yesterday. Will there be more announcements expected today? And essentially what he's trying to do is shore up support for pushing through this truce agreement. And it should be said here that both sides have said that they do want to continue the discussions. The issue, as we've been flagging, is that it is a three-point deal. The first part of the deal would entail a pausing in the exchange of fires. It would be a temporary ceasefire that would entail the freeing of some hostages, not all of them, in exchange for Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails, the return of displaced Palestinians to their homes, and a surge in humanitarian aid. So once that 6-week window is passed, then in theory what should happen is they move towards a permanent ceasefire. And that has been the big sticking point, Tom, because Hamas are saying that they're not going to enter into phase 1 until they have clarification on phase 2. Israel is saying that they're not going to enter into a permanent ceasefire discussion until they've actually completed their military objectives of neutralizing Hamas. So still a lot of sticking points. But the fact that the Secretary of State Blinken is there for the 8th time does underpin how important this is for the U.S. and increasingly so for the rest of the world with that UN security resolution as well.